Hi there, my name's Grace Gladys Famario and we're now in a new decade, 2020. We've started the year on the high and I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you just encouraging you about creating a vision and thinking of the impossible. Some of us last year or even years behind started projects, goals, dreams, whatever it is, and for some reason there were challenges along the way. And you may have found that you've kind of like given up and decided, I'm not going to do this anymore. For some people, you have strived and strived and strived and strived, and you keep striving, and you're thinking, when is this going to end? And for some people, you had the idea, you had the goal, you had the dream, and it just didn't happen. Let's just be real. Nothing happened with it. Now, whatever camp you fall in, and you might fall in between any of those, depending on what goal or vision or dream you're talking about, you have in mind. But it's a new year, it's a new day, it's a new month. In fact, it's a new decade. Here's my word for you, and it's not a long one. Pick up from where you left off and start again. The dream is too big enough for you to just leave it and abandon it. I want you to pick up from wherever you left off. Forget about all the issues that happen, the drama, the reality is, and I have this saying that I say, if the dream is big enough, the facts simply don't count. In fact, I picked that up from a mentor of mine many years ago. If the dream is big enough, the facts simply don't count. Yes, you fell down at hurdle number 1 or number 10. Yes, you may have struggled and it's like pulling teeth, regardless of what the experience has been. I want you to put that at the back of your mind and think ahead to this year and the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30s and the remainder of your life. What is it that you want to achieve? And then take steps to achieving that. Now, using my experience when it comes to helping people write books, so you all know I'm an author and a publisher, and I also mentor, train people, in particular women, in terms of creating content and selling their know-how and making a profit from it. Okay, and time again, when people say, oh, I want to write a book, and then you see them a few months later, oh, what's happened with your book? Oh, it hasn't happened, and here are some of the issues people face, some of the barriers. Procrastination, okay? You say you're going to do something, you just dilly-dally. Okay, lack of self-discipline. So for example, maybe you decided you're going to write that business plan, you're going to write a chapter of your book. Before you know it, Facebook, social media, Candy Crush or whatever it is just taking your attention. Or you haven't put things in place to make sure that you are sticking to your goals and the action plans of your goals. It could be you want to do something and you just don't know how to do it. Or maybe you started it and then you're stuck. There's a whole raft of reasons why people don't achieve their goals. And notice I'm not saying resolutions here now. Forget resolutions. What you need to focus on is what are the goals. In fact, take it a step further. Think of the end of your life. What would you have liked to accomplish by then? And start working backwards. So that means you need your weekly goals, your monthly goals, your yearly goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals, your 20-year goals, and we can keep going. You see where this is going, right? And taking steps to move you forward. Now, identify what your barriers are. As I said, it could be lack of discipline, lack of focus, lack of motivation. It could be that, thou knowest what your issue is. I'm not going to labour on this, but if we're completely honest, hand on heart, you know what the thing is that keeps tripping you up. So using this year as a springboard towards your purpose, your goals, your visions, whatever it is that you want to achieve, take a step back and just reflect what held me back in the previous years, weeks, months and whatnot. And what can I do this year to make sure that does not happen again? Because you really don't want that to happen again. You don't want to waste valuable time. You don't want to waste, in fact, I believe time is such a precious commodity that we take it for granted. That's the reality of it. We had some friends and dear ones who didn't make it to this year. And so I consider the time, the gift of time, an absolute privilege that we should not abuse. So I encourage you, the gift of time that you now have for 2020 and beyond, make it count for something great. Forget about the past, forget about what didn't work. You know what, if something doesn't work, find a new strategy. It's just that simple. If you need help, get the support. Y'all know that, hey, you know, when it comes to writing, publishing, creating courses online, empowering women, that's my thing. So you know to come to me, right? But there's a lot of resources out there. Don't let lack of knowledge, lack of know-how hinder you from getting forward. Now, in closing, this is what I always say to groups when I'm working with groups. When we're trying to create something and there's like, you know, they're struggling about, you know, the thing that they're trying to do or the goals they're trying to do, I get them to think about the world that we're living right now. Okay, so in the world we're living, we have people who are creating things. We have the people who make our clothing, the people who make our little blings, okay, which I like. We have people who make our food, who grow food for us, people who, you know, look after animals. We have doctors, we have everybody, musicians, book writers. We have everybody in that whole ecosystem that we call life. Okay, everybody, all those people, what they've done is they've found their gifts, their talents, their expertise and their skills, and they're putting it to good use for us, okay, for me and for you. So what happens when I don't use my own gifts and talents and put it to good use? What happens when you don't use your gifts and your talents and put it to good use? The question is who am I depriving when I don't use my gifts and talents? I could throw the same question to you. When you don't use what's been placed in your hands, who is that impacting? Because we're all living in this whole ecosystem. When I withhold my gift, I don't serve humanity. And when I refuse to share with what's been given to me as a gift and a blessing, somebody somewhere suffers for that. In fact, I go one step further to say someone somewhere doesn't experience the God in me. Who am I depriving when I decide I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the first place? The question is also to you as well. Who's been deprived? Now, I know it kind of sounds like, oh, but the reality is when I withhold my gift, somebody somewhere doesn't benefit from that. And that for me is what drives me personally. So I'm throwing you the gauntlet. 2020 is a new year, a new season. Forget what didn't work. Forget the fact that you didn't do this. All those kind of excuses, just throw them to the side. But I want you to develop a new mindset to say, you know what? I've been blessed with the gift of time. I've been blessed with some gifts, some talents, some expertise, or even a life experience. You know that, all my books around emotional well-being and bouncing back, healing a discouraged heart, they all came out of my own personal tragedies and issues and life situations, really challenging situations. But I decided to flip adversity on its head and do something positive with it. So I'm saying the same thing to you. Flip adversity on its head and make something positive come out of it. Better still, make 2020 count. Take care, God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.